So Brady comes out of the divorce, and clearly his personal life has been ripped apart. I have to imagine that it is incredibly gut-wrenching to lose your children in divorce and to lose your wife in divorce, no matter what type of disagreement you have, no matter how much writing was on the wall. I have to imagine this reality coming crashing down, signing the papers, and now life changes forever has got to be crushing. But Brady's always been full in on football. And this year, it certainly felt less than that. It's felt like football is there, and he wants to win and wants to do well, but the same focus and commitment can't happen because of everything that we're just talking about here. I want to play for you the first question that he took the other day with his press conference and listen to his answer. And I want you to ask yourselves a question here. Brady is not going to answer the question. And listen to this and ask yourself, is this because he's just doing the Brady football speak, don't give away the secrets of the game? Or is this because Tom Brady is actually out of answers?
Tom, in the third quarter, in the last 5 games, you guys have been outscored 34-18, 21-0 in the last 2 games. What's happening after halftime or in the third quarter to not have any points on the board? What's happening on offense?
Yeah, it's Coach talked about it today, playing 4 quarters of football. And, we just haven't put four good quarters together. And, it's frustrating because we're not, in order to win games, you got to play well consistently throughout the game. We just haven't done that. So it's tough getting up here every week, figuring out how to, not be overly disappointed in what we're doing, but we're fighting hard, and we're going to try to make it better.
I've talked about this before on this show. I watched it. I covered it in Boston for 4 years. Brady was a master of being asked a question and sounding like he's answering it so that the reporter, the media member, has a quote to play in a package or write a story about, but not giving away any secrets. And on first blanch, I thought, well, that's the same thing here, that he's asked about third quarter woes and goes into a really stock answer about we got to play 4 quarters of football. Coach has talked about this. We got to play more consistently, blah, blah, blah. But I was watching this press conference and I said, God, this feels different. And maybe it feels different because the offense is really rough to watch right now. Maybe this feels different because the season's on the brink. But it also looked and sounded different, like Brady couldn't really tell you why they suck. He is asked a direct question, and he's given the stats. Tom, you've been outscored by X in the third quarters over the last 4 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, you've been outscored in the third quarter 21-0. The inference here is you're coming out of the halftime when you're supposed to make adjustments. You've now seen 2 quarters of the opposing defense, and you guys are worse. What's happening? And Tom just kind of gives you we're not playing 4 quarters of football. No, Tom, the question is, you're the greatest quarterback of all time with one of the greatest brains, football supercomputers in your skull. You're working with an offensive coordinator, Byron Leftwich, that you've had a lot of success with the last 2 seasons. You've won a Super Bowl with him, and last year had statistically one of your greatest seasons ever. Now, you guys see 2 quarters of the opposing defense. You go into the locker room. We assume you make adjustments. We assume you look at some stuff on that tablet and in the film room or whatever, and you say, we can do this, we can do that, let's attack it like this. And you're coming out, and the opposing team is owning you. You're worse after halftime. So what gives? And Tom doesn't have anything he can point to. Now, again, maybe it's because he doesn't want to, because that would suggest throwing somebody under the bus, criticizing his own team, etc. And maybe he's just trying to avoid that. But, man, in a season where you're this bad and it keeps being this bad, there's a part of me that believes he just doesn't have answers. And maybe it's because he's not fully mentally and emotionally all there. A couple of weeks ago against the Carolina Panthers, that was the Wizards' big bet, that this was the day Brady gets right. Because the Buccaneers were coming off another awful performance, and they had a team that was selling off its parts, firing its head coach, and Brady was going to torch them. He was hearing about lack of commitment. He was hearing about how bad he was. He was hearing about the end of the road for him. And Brady as always did that day as well as it can be done. When those murmurs start happening is when Brady clicks into, I will show you. It happened after the on to Cincinnati game. It happened after the 4-game suspension with Roger Goodell, with Deflategate. It happened every time that somebody like Max Kellerman said he's going to fall off the cliff. Every moment that Brady had to then shove it where, he took and he delighted in it. And this was a case where clearly he was setting up for the same thing. And he was terrible. Terrible. They scored 3 points all day against the Panthers. He's out of answers. He doesn't have whatever it was in front of him or within him to change the trajectory like he used to. And that's the sign of the end. There's no answers in Tampa Bay. It ain't getting better. They don't know how to make it better. They don't have the solution. And so this game against the Rams on Sunday is pretty rough because we're all waiting for both of these teams to kind of click it into gear. Oh, okay, there's the Rams we know. There's the Bucs we know. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Bucs don't have answers. And Brady, how could he be completely all in? And I think that for the Rams, they were resting on their laurels. The moment that confetti came down, they couldn't keep talking about how great they were. And in today's NFL, ain't going to get very far.